you are all well and safe, and I miss each and every one of you. This week, we are going to take inspiration from a very famous American painter and printmaker, Jasper Johns. Before we get started, here's a little bit more about our inspiration for the week, Jasper Johns.
Jasper Johns, born 1930, is an American painter and printmaker. He is best known for his paintings of the American flag. The original idea to paint a flag came to him in a dream. He also often depicts camouflaged numbers and letters with rich, painterly backgrounds and surfaces. Johns used the same subjects over and over again to create continuous series. Jasper Johns holds the record private sale of a living artwork by a living artist at $110 million in 2010.
Isn't that interesting about American artist Jasper Johns? He certainly has contributed such beauty and cool ideas to the world. And how awesome is it that he's still living and he was able to receive an incredible amount of money for his artwork. He is that well known and that famous and that beloved. Now here is one of his artworks. This is actually the number 3. Can you see it? It's a little bit hidden. This is a little bit camouflaged. I can also see, can you see it? The number 4. Pretty cool. So when you look at it, I actually saw the number 3 first, and then I started seeing the number 4. He used the same color tones throughout, and just very, very softly, you can see the hidden pattern for his numbers that he created within this one art piece. And there are all kinds of cool ways that you can take inspiration from the work of Jasper Johns. I'm going to show you a few here today. So let's look at one that I did create. This is actually my favorite number, the number 4. And it's camouflaged, but not as camouflaged as he would probably do. But I did have such a good time creating the paper that I used to cut out my number 4. And then I also created the background. And what I did was I printed with liquid paint and then objects that I use around the house that we weren't going to be using anymore. So what I did was, let me show you this. I made this little sample sheet of some ideas for printmaking. So here you have the end of a fork. You can see it's been used and painted with. This was just what the fork looked like before I used it for a painting tool. And I dipped it in the paint, and then I created the look of these lines and created an alternating pattern. Here I used the cap of a glue stick and dipped it in the paint and created those awesome little circles and overlapped those to create a pattern. Then I used a piece of cardboard and I just dipped it in the paint and I used that to create a pattern. And I loved the texture that it created from the edge, actually the edge right here of the cardboard. Then I also cut out from our egg carton that we didn't need anymore. We were going to just throw it away. So instead of throwing it away, I cut it apart and I used the base of the egg carton as it's kind of spongy material. So it was really nice. So then I put it in the paint and I created my circle dots, which also added some really nice texture to the look of that print. Now, when you are printmaking, you're going to need some liquid paint. I used black tempera paint for this project. You absolutely can use any color that you want. As a matter of fact, let me show you my son's work. He did his football number 51. And his background design, he used the edge of the tool and just created that, and he got some splatters on there. It looks really nice. And then for his number 51, he did the same thing I did and used the tongs of the fork. Now, these are 2 papers that my other son, Will, did with in red paint, and he used the edge of the fork and he dipped it into just using the tip of the fork. I mean, this is all done with one tool, just this fork. It's pretty cool. And then I love the design that happened with this. he dipped it into the red paint and he was able to achieve this really cool curved pattern all over his paper. So definitely options using just one incredible household item. But certainly practice and play around with using different kinds of things to print make. Real quickly, I'm just going to print a couple of papers and I'm going to speed it up so it goes by fast just to show you the technique of dipping it into the paint and then printing it on your paper. Okay, artists, you can see that I did most of the paper here with the circles. Dipping and stamping my print onto the paper to create my own repeated pattern all over, to create my own paper that I can now use into my piece of art if I would like, using a fork, using any objects you have from around the house, and some liquid paint. Now, all right, so since I need to let that dry, I'm going to grab my son's papers that he created using the red liquid paint and the back of his fork and then the tips of the fork. So it was basically he dipped just the tips and dipped it and then stamped it all over the front to make the printed paper here. And then he dipped the actual back end of the fork into the paint and did the same thing and created a printed paper using the back of the fork. Now, since his is dry, I'm going to use his to put it together. What I want to do is first I've got to decide which one's going to be my background and which one is going to be the subject. And I can do any subject I want. I can do a number, I can do a letter, I could do a symbol, I could do a word. Well, let me show you this word. I did this for Mr. Van Egmond because he is such a loving guy, and we celebrated Assistant Principals Week not too long ago, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to create something based on the work of Jasper Johns for him, because I know he loves art, and also was practicing how to create this video. So I did this for him, the word love, and I used my paper. This is a whole other sheet of paper. I cut out the word love and glued it to this background of circles. What I want to do here is I think I'm going to use the letter W because that is my son's name. His name is Will. And since these are his papers that he created, I think I'll use that to honor him. So why don't I decide which one should be the background, which should be the W? Okay, I am liking the dots to be the background, and I'm going to let this be his letter W. So I'm going to rotate these papers because I'm going to use this and create the letter W right here on this. I'm going to move the background out of the way. And I'm going to use block lettering. Now, I'll probably link in to the document how to draw block letters if you don't already know how. They're really fun and easy to make. They're basically straight lines everywhere that you have the end point of a letter. So I'm just going to start up here. I'm going to go across for the part of my letter W using a pencil, using it lightly, just sketching the letter W. And I'm freehanding this. It's not perfect, not trying to be perfect. I like to see what happens and just create. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same. All right, there's my letter W. Now I'm going to speed this up and I'm going to cut this out. All right, there you have it. My letter W is now cut out and complete. I'm going to grab the background paper that I printed, and I'm going to place the letter W in the center of my background paper. And ooh la la, I love the way this looks. The last step before I glue it down, though, I want to get rid of any pencil lines that are on my symbol. So let me grab my eraser. There it is. I'm going to use my little eraser here. Some of you might have a pink eraser. This one happens to be white. Or maybe you have a good eraser on the back of your pencil. My eraser on the back of my pencil has been all used up. So I'm just going to use this handheld eraser. Just quickly get rid of those pencil marks so it's clean. And when I glue it down, it'll have a really nice effect. All right, get rid of all those eraser. There we go. And then I'm going to place, there we go. Ooh, I like that. Now, I forgot to grab my brush for my liquid glue. I took the top off because my top is not working and I cannot seem to get it unclogged. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a little trick. This is easy, but you have to be careful. I'm just going to grab a little bit of glue and let it come out and go along my letter. And then just simply using my finger, it's a great tool. I'm just going to rub in the glue all on the back of the letter W. And then use my paper towel to wipe it off. And then turn it over and place it carefully in the center. Line it up as best you can. Press it down with my fingers on the front. Turn it over. Massage it on the back. And voila! We have a really cool camouflaged letter W. Now, one thing to make this stand out just a little bit more, you can grab a crayon, you can grab a marker, you can grab a piece of chalk. Now, chalk is going to work best because you can smear it in and make it have this really cool smoky smudged effect. If you don't have chalk, then absolutely use whatever you have to create a little bit of, I'm actually going to use this red Sharpie since he's got red paint. I'm going to use a red Sharpie, and I'm just going to do a really subtle outline just all around it. I'm going to let it be a little bit jagged, just sketchy, so that it's kind of cool and different and kind of abstract. But it's going to make the letter W stand out just a little bit more from the background. Not going to be as camouflaged this way, but still have a really cool effect. Using the same color especially will do that. Ooh, I like it. Clean that up just a little bit. There we go. Awesome. And there you go. Now, you may be like, but Mrs. Fuhrman, I do not have liquid paint, and my mom is not going to let me get that out. Totally understand. Watch what you can do just using simple tools from around your house, simple papers from around your house. Okay, so are you ready to see some ideas of things you can use around the house that are not paint? Check this out. Oh my goodness, I know you can't see my art yet. I'm about to show you the magical way to make this stand out. But what I did was I used an old atlas. This is an atlas of Alabama, all these little maps of different areas around the whole state, okay? And so I just chose 2 sheets from this book because I knew we weren't going to use this anymore. It's super old, and I saved it simply for projects like this. And I actually cut out, I don't know if you can see it, but I cut out the symbol of a heart using the map that talks about, guess what? Montgomery, and look what I found, Pike Road right here, and you can even see Prattville way up there. So this is our area where we live, and then I chose another area of Alabama, which this is Alexander City, and this is Lake Martin. I know probably a lot of you spend a lot of time there. We do, I know for sure. So I put those 2 together. So I cut out the heart around the area of Montgomery and Pike Road and Prattville, and then I glued it to the background of Alexander City and Lake Martin. That was just kind of my idea. You can do whatever you want if you have an old map at home. I'm going to use the colors that match this map. I'm actually grabbing chalk just to show you how to use the chalk for this particular last part of the project to kind of make your symbol or your number or your letter stand out. And you can see now it's kind of coming to life because I'm going around the outer edge of that part of the map. Now, these 2 papers are not that different, so it is hard to tell that it's actually 2 different sheets, but that's okay. The whole idea is to enjoy the art of camouflage and making something blend in together, but then all of a sudden your eyes see something new. What if you add a little bit of blue? I'm going to do that. Just blend those 2 colors just for fun, since I see a lot of blue and a lot of green in this map. Ooh la la, I love the way that turned out. That is really cool looking. And what's fun is when you look closely at it, you can tell this is a different part of Alabama on top of another part of Alabama. Now, you can also grab, what if you have some magazines at home? Grab those magazines. I'm going to wipe my finger off. grab those magazines and see if you can find some pages within the magazine that would be cool to cut out that are similar, that would make, one would make a really great background, one would make a really good piece of art for your symbol. What if you grabbed some newspaper? I didn't have any newspaper. We actually used it the other day to make a little fire outside, so I don't have any more to show you, but maybe you have some newspaper at home and you can grab those too. What if you have some, this is something I did for the letter W, thinking that would be fun to try. I had these printed papers from a scrapbook catalog that I had, and these were two papers that were pretty similar, so I put those together using this for the W and then this for the background. Don't forget, you can do numbers. Remember this original one that I did? You can do a word. You could do your football number, your baseball number, your softball number, your soccer number, your favorite number, whatever you want to do, and print make, or simply use papers from around the house and put them together and see what you can create based on the work inspired by Jasper Johns. I hope everyone has an awesome day. I love and miss you. Can't wait to see you soon. Have a great day.